Welcome back. And happy new year. It is March 2024. Took a little break. The Yellowjackets had to go on a little bit of a run. I got the international man of mystery, and at every basketball event you never knew existed, my co-host, the man, the myth, the dude, Tony Sterling. Sterls, how we doing?
Doing good, man. How you been? You been all right?
Hey, you know me, man. Just like you, we've been in the gym. We just actually got started up our 3-on-3. We're having our spring league. We've grown. We started with 38 kids in the fall, K through 6, boys and girls, and now we've got 120 kids in a wait list for this spring. We kicked that off tonight, K2. But yeah, man. So I've been a ton of planning with that and just the season. Well, my season's a little bit different, just kind of helping out with a lot of club stuff, and then running the 3-on-3. So we had our winter season got done about a month ago. So we had about 3 weeks. I was just doing some training and getting this curriculum, man. But tell me about your season. I followed the Yellow Jackets from afar. I was not like our guy Wash. I did not watch the Facebook stream. So Tony, break it down. How was the year? I know we spoke on and off about some different things going on and off the court. I know you guys at one point were something like 21-6 or 7. You were on a good little run. So Tone, what's the story of the season? Unfortunately, it ended over the weekend for the Yellow Jackets.
We had a really good season. Finished the year 28-7. Enjoyed every bit of it. Had some things happen where the season was going great at 23-2, and had to end the season. I think we ended the season with 4-5, whatever that is, including the playoff games or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But overall, man, we had a really good season. Um, was I expecting us to be that good? I was
Hey, you know you got a
kind
couple
of sort of,
guys.
but the kids started meshing and start coming together and stuff like that. But after we had to make some changes with some disciplinary stuff in school, we just think this is the second year in a row we're limping into the playoffs. Whatever. Be honest with you, I felt like if we had, you know, our team from start to finish, we'll probably be in the top 28 semifinals down here in Louisiana. But overall, it was a great season. Losing two seniors, but we
Mm-hmm.
get everybody back. Got some key guys. You know,
Yep, you'll be
gonna
back.
have
You'll
some,
be reloaded, and that class that now, so they'll be their sophomores this year. That's a pretty loaded class, isn't it? If I remember correctly.
oh yeah, they'll be juniors next
Yeah,
season. Um,
they're battle tested because they've been getting a lot of earned a lot of minutes for y'all these past couple of years. Obviously, with the success you're having as well.
uh, it was, I tell the coach I work for is one about the X's and O's and them playing on the court. It's more of, you know, how they deal with things off the court, some distractions and stuff. Which they started to get it at the end, which, now those guys coming back, I guess they know the expectations and know how to deal with those distractions for their next 2 years and potentially like with the seniors that we have now, they got to step up and be leaders and how they want to finish their senior year of their career off, with 20 wins, however many, playoffs, district champs, however they want to finish it. But it's their team now, myself, Coach Cab and Coach Wingate, we always do our part. So basically, those guys got to do
Yeah.
their part, be successful. And I don't think even too much coaching anymore. I think it's more of kind of being you say a mentor, so to speak, or just trying to be a remediator towards towards certain things or whatever. But just gotta
Yeah,
every
there's
day.
a Yeah, man, there's a definite no. I mean, I'm sure because everybody's got problems, right? And kids are kids, and I think we speak often, and kids are going to be kids, and you know, I'm more surprised when a kid doesn't act like a kid than when a kid does some, makes a mistake, and I think that's the biggest thing moving forward. And I'd be curious because Coach Cab's a really good coach. For those of you that don't know, the guy that Tony is the head coach at Denham Springs, Coach Cab, he does a great job. And Tony, I'm curious, how do you guys go about? Because you've had some success now, and you talk about now, we're going to be prepared to do our part. But how does Coach Cab and how do you guys go about developing those leaders? Is there a leadership group within your program, or how does he meet with the seniors every week during the season? Do they have plan things? What's that look like? Um,
I mean, you basically just tell them like, I remember 2 years ago, we telling our seniors like, how y'all want y'all senior year to be like, because those seniors from 2 years ago, they was playing varsity since they were sophomores, so they got their ass kicked when they were sophomores. Junior year, you see some progress. Then for them to, win 20 plus games that senior year, just letting them know, their adversity and stuff just paid off or whatever. So
mhm.
it's just been kind of saying, the next senior's up, regardless if you playing or not, or if you playing a lot, or just even without like we have like a manager or whatever. Like if he's just, if they're a senior, like it's your team. Y'all you can only go as far, if y'all together instead of going far by yourself.
Yep,
You know.
you gotta be, yeah, just kind of putting the ownership of, hey, we're all here and we're pulling the same direction, but hey, this is the last go round, and
Mm-hmm.
it we can't do it all. To your point of like, and everybody, hears of, oh, it's got to be a player led team, this, that, and the third, and I think in college more so where like you have some young man, I think you can truly have a player led team. And I think in high school, every once in a while, you'll get that, exceptional leader. But, and interesting, have you read the book, The Culture Code?
What's your code? No, I haven't. What's the
Well,
name? Who wrote that book?
I can't remember. I've listened to it a couple times, but essentially what it talks about within any great culture is there's one person that's an excellent leader, and it goes through different people from the All Blacks in New Zealand to being like Tom Brady and his dynasty. And I would say similar to the Patrick Mahomes now with the Chiefs of like Michael Jordan, LeBron, like those like, oh, the Heat culture will like, yo, Jimmy Butler has been to the finals now a couple times, like obviously he's a tier below LeBron and those guys, but like, hey, like, those elite cultures have a guy that kind of represent. I think UD was one of those guys for the heat culture and things like that. And that's essentially what that book kind of says. And that's talking about pros. And I think when I was, in college, what was your experience when you were in college in terms of a player led team, things like that? Because you went JUCO and then 4 years. So what was that experience like in JUCO from a player led perspective, or was it not necessarily that? Because I think coaching obviously has changed. But what were the leaders like when you played collegiately?
I mean, when I was in JUCO, everybody trying to go Division 1. So I guess because we're so competitive in practice, whatever, we fight and stuff, and, during practice, but we left it, on that court. We ain't bring it in the locker room. We ain't bring it back to the apartments that we stayed in. But that made us close. Um, I think it was just an automatic accountability back in those days. Even when I was at ULM, it was everybody know who the big dog was, and that big dog, he led by example. I think it was more easier, back in those days when I was playing, compared to you gotta teach these kids, you gotta teach these kids how to be leaders. And I think it's not bad. It's kind of bad in a sense, like you gotta teach them those things, like like when they make bad decisions, you know. And then, like back in our when we was playing, like if you made bad decisions, like it was surprising, but you knew, like you knew what it was. But like now, like these kids don't know the consequences of bad decisions, so you got to teach them, you know. And I feel like with me, like, and I'll tell them, you're gonna hate me for telling you the truth. You ain't gonna hate me for not telling you the truth. I can't do that, especially me being, you know, having a passion for basketball, and on top of that, I love the game because the game has done so much for me. I can't lie to you about this game. You know, then you can relate the game to life analogies and stuff. Like getting to practice early, getting in the classroom early. You know, when the teacher not talking, talking, you don't talk. Stuff like that. Go back to making your bed. In the morning, do you make your bed? Uh, and I think, like with this year, we kind of the kids. I think like at the end, they really started to come together. So I think you can't really prepare for a season, but I know what to look for, for next year instead of limping in the playoffs like we did the last 2 years, this year and last year. But you kind of decompress after the season. You think about some things you could have did.
Hmm.
But it always, the biggest thing, the kids, like, someone texts Coach Cam, someone texts me, and I had put up like a little hashtag saying "We'll be back," something like that. So it was pretty good. It was pretty good. So the kids know what they expect from themselves next year.
Hmm. Yeah, and I
So
think that'll be good. I'm excited to see how y'all do. I think that'll be good for your kids to just continue to, see that. And I think the one thing now, and we talk about this. I as an elementary PE teacher, like I talk to my kids about, just being number one responsible. Like if you make a mistake, admit it. Like there's so many times, and you see this. I mean, like I'll speak to like people like, and you're talking about kids just don't know how to make decisions. Like you ask them something, they just look at you. And I think,
yeah,
they're so used to having such control, but it's never like no one really asks. They're just used to having control on their phone, right? And like that's the one thing that I'm constantly reminded of with kids and with players is like, and you were talking about how like a lot of it's just like teaching them. And like to my experience, most kids, unless they're just deterred, in which case they're probably not in your program really anyway, they're
yeah,
not trying to mess up. They do know right and wrong, but to your point of, like they just don't quite understand what the consequences of said actions could or will be at the time. But that's
yeah.
kids being kids again, and we're never surprised with kids.
Oh man, especially I'll say this: these kids different.
Hey,
These are different. These are different kids.
they are. But I think the one thing that like the kids, and especially like in our world, that we're like, these kids we get their ass kissed since they're in sixth, seventh, eighth grade. Like you see at the events we're at, these grown ass men and women going up and taking selfies with these kids. Like, for what?
Right.
I get it, and like I don't want like, and I'm not disrespecting anybody's business, but like, yo, like if a kid wants to take a picture of you, like cool, whatever. But like, there's sometimes it's just like, yo, that kid, like, could you imagine how weird that would be? Like, I know as an adult, if somebody comes up and like out of nowhere, like, hey, can I get a picture with you? Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
So I think like, yo, like the culture's got to get better, just period. And I think Jamal Crawford, obviously, and that you know, on Instagram to everybody, that was everybody's story. Was and like, hey, we got to do better. But like, when is the behavior going to change? Tone, I mean, you got any betting odds on when that shit's actually going to change? You're going to be on the scene all summer. You think it's going to change in summer 2024?
Uh,
Okay, so until and like, and not, and I'm not a parent. I'm a dude that spends a lot of time with kids, but like, yo, the example's got to be the example. And that's one thing that, you know, is just frustrating is when the example's not being set. And like, I think that's one thing we took for granted. Like our teachers and different people, our coaches, like they were just, you just blindly trusted them. And like, if they said it, like you believed it, which like, I think you got to critically think and stuff, but also like, you just weren't disrespectful, but it's different times, different things.
yeah, different times.
But I
I
think it'll be
wonder
interesting. I'm fired up about Apple glasses. I will say that. You seen any of that?
not down here in the South yet, but
Hey,
it's
I'm gonna send you a couple videos, dude. Hey, you put those things on, you be watching like 6 games like you're in a freaking IMAX, dude. Pulling the one off, putting the one on. Yeah, dude. Just a lot of
you
this.
telling me you bought some?
No, hey, if somebody wants to get, dude, I ain't got $3,500. Who you tell? Come on, Tone. But no, man. So hey, so let's get back on. So we're officially in March 4th, 2024. What so we got final, we'll be obviously we're right around the corner from tournament week. Then we're obviously into March Madness tournament. Tony, congratulations. We'll be coaching again for USA basketball during their mini camp, which will go on there. But Tone, what's the time look like in between now and then? And then talk a little bit about what you'll be doing with USA in Phoenix here the first week of April.
Pretty much. The same stuff like logistics with the players and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What are you doing between now and then, next month or so?
uh,
You on the road? You at the crib? You working out? I know you'll be working out kids during the week, but what's it look like?
yeah, I worked out kids today, so that don't change. But
Yep.
as far as like Nike starting up junior EYBL with middle school, the eighth grade division, kind of like what they did with the EYCL, just having like 17U. Then the next year they added, like 16, 15 and stuff like that. So that's a new thing that Nike is doing. They got the junior EYBL. Uh, Still got a great relationship with Houston Hoops, but I'll be staying home this year, coaching with Live On. Shout out to Randy Livingston for giving me that opportunity, which I'm on 45 minutes away from New Orleans and dealing with our state as far as like when it comes to basketball. I feel like our basketball in the state of Louisiana is super, super down. And having high school guys now on the grassroots side just to see, how it is on the outside, especially in the state that you're in, North Carolina, of course, Texas, because Texas is a neighboring state. You got the Midwest states, California stuff. So you get some of these guys that, see how the game is outside of the state, then they can bring it back to their respected schools to teach the game and also expand it throughout the community. But for this, this month, it'll just be practicing in New Orleans, helping the middle school team, and I'll be here and there with the 15U team as well. But uh, April gonna be a pretty busy month for me, helping
Yep.
with
Hey,
that.
we ain't gonna talk about April today. We're starting back up the weekly. We're going slow reveal. Hey, if you don't know, if you're new to the program, obviously you're probably not. If you're following this at this current stage of corn fed with the side of Cajun sauce, the Cajun sauce, Tony Sterling, the man that stays in the gym, stays in the airport, on scene. And when he says he's gonna be busy, as the kids in 2024 say, no cap. So, but we're not going to be talking about that today. I'm very excited to hear about how that junior EYBL does go. Just having been involved with MAID, I've worked a few of their stops here on the East Coast, helping out with some logistics and things. So I'll be curious to hear what it's like in comparison to that experience. And I'm also going to be curious to see who's all there watching. But I think obviously Nike knows what they're doing. I'm very curious. Like I said, I'm curious to hear what it's like, how much talent they have in the building. I think, and Tony, maybe you have a better idea on this as a person that's, more on the scene than I. Like, do you feel like Maid's biggest strength is that they're not associated with a specific sneaker contract officially?
Um, I'll say yes and no, but everybody at the end of the day, people are going to gravitate towards that shoe sponsor.
Well,
You
that's what I
know,
think made, and like obviously Nike can't do it as a sports marketing company, but I think
mm,
that's where Made's strength is in front in terms of like their circuit and why their circuit is going to
yeah,
remain highly competitive is because they
yeah,
take Under
yeah,
Armour 3SSB, Junior
mm-hmm,
EYBL, and
yeah,
like
yeah. Exactly. So, I think I have to be careful with how I say yes and no. Yes, for the people that understand, you know, made hoops and Nike as a whole, and
mhm.
the re- and you got the other people on the other side that kind of look at it, I wouldn't say a one-minded way, but like don't understand the marketing and business side of it. You know,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah, we're gonna. I got you. So yeah, I'm excited to see how that all goes. Um, and just as
mm,
it grows, I mean, the one thing I will say, I mean, like Peach Jam used to be like if you didn't really, it used to be just a random page in Slam magazine in the early 2010. You know what I mean? Like you knew about it, but now to
yeah,
where I mean, that's broadcast freaking on ESPN and
yeah,
all that. I mean, so obviously we're in a completely different area. And the thing I do, is just, the sponsors and all that stuff do get a bad rap. But the one thing I will say, and like, I think that, it's great that the women are able to now cash in just as much, but like, there's a ton of money put into grassroots hoops by all sneaker companies. And I think obviously you're seeing that a little bit in 7-on-7 football and like the growth of that. But like
yeah.
basketball is unique in that sense of like there is a
I,
lot of money for the infrastructure, for the
yeah,
tournament, for the things
yeah, yeah,
that not other sports have. I mean, from
yeah.
soccer.
Yeah. I think what people need to educate themselves on is the marketing side of how things go. And that's what I've been doing the last couple of years. Everybody think if you want to get to know, uh, like Nike or Adidas or Under Armour, you got to get in the grassroots side of it. No, I think you really learn how to, how they move as far as on the, how they do things as far as marketing, and
Mhm.
that be from the, the business side of. Not saying trying to be like a car salesman, like you trying to see what's
No,
appealing, to to everyone to jump on the bandwagon or your product or something like that. But like most people don't understand is like the, of course you got Nike, but you got Jordan brand as well, and they've been making some very good leaps these past couple of years, especially with all the like certain athletes that they sign and stuff like that. So,
Hmm.
so pretty good, and I think it's good for Adidas, Under Armour. They learning from each other, and they learning what like what avenues that they can take to 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 succeed on that side too, or whatever. But it's all good. I think just got to educate yourself just like how we do with basketball.
Oh yeah.
Basketball, like we don't get complacent with it or whatever. So
No, and like I would say the one thing, like and I think Tony, you've learned a ton, and like you've come at things from a very unique perspective of coming from a curiosity and learning. Just and it's almost like why we continue, why anyone continues to go to things and to grow is like you want to get better. You're trying to understand it from a different perspective, right? Like you obviously played, you played collegiate basketball, so for a long time till you were 22, 23, 24, you viewed it from a player's lens. And, probably took a year or two to get out of that, to kind of shift from a player's lens to a coach's lens. And not that you ever lose your player's lens. Like, I think, that's the best way to see the game because that's the game's played. So, player's perspective, but you learn how to communicate and you're growing. And, I think the way you're going about learning about it's just been impressive. I think it's been led to a ton of experiences that, not a lot of people can say they've got as a guy that's just, tried to come at it from a good place of perspective and curiosity.
oh yeah, kind of like what you're doing the 3-on-3.
Yeah.
Landing, you're doing it in a great state or whatever. That's North Carolina. Could that survive in Louisiana?
Hey,
It
it
could.
will. I'm gonna say, hey, like the thing, and I will say, like 3-on-3 basketball, I've enjoyed coaching it more than anything because like the best part about it, I'm a big practice guy, big preparation, love skill development. So like in 3-on-3, once the game starts, like you sit in the stands as a coach and like the players, they sub themselves in, they do all of it. And that's kind of how we run our league. And I
Mhm.
think in like, we're K through sixth. So K2, hey, we're past cut. We had our first one tonight. It was great, but just understanding how to communicate and seeing the spacing. I think we had an event over the weekend. Like, hey, anybody that's looking to run a 3-on-3 event, let me know. Like, we got a pretty good little blueprint where you can run a couple brackets, and in about 90 minutes you can run through a whole tournament, and everybody gets a couple games. We did that over the weekend for a fundraiser, and it was awesome. And just to see how kids learn, and kids really enjoy it because they get to touch the ball more, they get to make more decisions. And I think if there's one thing, I would say if there's one thing that can fix the game, but like I think it would really help. And I like, one of the reasons when I moved here, I shifted to grassroots hoops. And I don't think I alone will change, youth basketball or anything, but I think like there's an area of growth where like if we want to get the game back to where we can really be like it's in a great spot, like we got to invest some resources in that fourth, fifth, sixth grade of 3-on-3 small sided games. Like, and I guess I've gotten spoiled here. Like people understand training. I train 6 days a week. Like it's in kids love to train. They love to get better, like, which is great. But the small sided games, I think, is the next wave. Kind of how, like, a few years ago, people kind of had like the foam rollers. Now they have the freaking guns. It's the same thing. Like, I think the training is going to be the foam rollers. 3-on-3 is going to be the guns. Like, because it's so applicable. Like, and as a good like if you're a good trainer, you're utilizing 3-on-3 already. Like you're planning your hour training to end in 3-on-3 with your 6 kids, 8 kids, whatever you got. So,
Right, right.
um,
No, I get it for sure. No,
but I
I think just with all the stuff we got with social media, you know, if you just learning that marketing side of everything, because you already have the like the IQ about basketball. How can you market that as a whole? Kind of like what we're doing with the podcast stuff like
Yep.
that. But
Yeah. No, I mean, absolutely. Yeah, we gotta get our marketing up. We're looking for interns, so if that's you, if you are a college student that is currently paying a lot of money for a business degree, do we have an opportunity for you?
hey,
Comment below. Comment below. Tony Sterling, Google him, look his LinkedIn. He's fairly connected. We are here as a resource. If you work, we work. So we do need an intern. We're trying to pick up our marketing. I do have, and this is in the works, and I'm going to speak with you off camera about this, but we got a little thing, actually a big project. We're going to be undertaking this 3-on-3 season. So yeah, no, I'm vibing. It's been a good time. But Tone, what have you been reading as a person? I know you invest a lot in yourself and just in that daily. I know you do your journaling, but what have you been reading these last? Because we took a little break. Um, so what have you been reading? What's been good?
man, I just been journaling the whole season. I'm
We
about to get back into reading or whatever. But I just been journaling every day.
oh,
Um,
I'm overtaking the Tony Sterling basketball coaches book club is officially ended. It's now the Game Shots basketball coaches book club.
what book is that?
This is Loose Balls is the title of the book, Tony. It's about the ABA
Okay,
and the history of it. Dave Severance actually Clay Mosier last summer at Snow Valley recommended it. I talked to Sev, asked him if he's like, I don't have to read it. I lived it. Shout out Sev. I said, well, if you're younger than Jesus, I suppose you probably have to read the book. He said, yep. So I'm going to
yeah,
read the book. JT Roddinghouse and I have agreed that we're going to read it by the end of April. It is like almost 500 pages, and I'm an audiobook guy. No audio available, so Terry Pluto, if we could get on some audio, I'd really appreciate that. I'd hammer it out a lot quicker. But yeah, if you are looking as a person that's just trying to learn more about the game, I got this on. It's called Loose Balls by Terry Pluto, The Short Wild Life of the American Basketball Association. Recommended by a lot of OGs. I think Dave Bonkel said he had either read it or heard good things. So if you are interested in doing that, comment below. I've got no plug for a cheap copy, but I will be reading it. We're going to host a little round table, probably similar to this in a Zoom around the end of April. So get your copy, get to reading. We'll see you there. We got Tank Larry fired up. Also, I'm gonna be moving to a home here next week. It's been a big time. We're gonna have a yard, Tone. I'm so fired up. And for when you come, you'll have your own guest bathroom.
perfect,
Yep. And dogs, Tank and Larry will be outside. So when you're out there reading, you can be out there with them. But
perfect.
oh, absolutely, man. I mean, shoot, it's spring here, and I'm sure it's very nice there. Um, Tony, is there
Allergies.
anyone locally in Louisiana that you um are excited to see play the rest of the state tournament? If there's like, hey, this kid's really good, because you mentioned Louisiana basketball is a little bit down as a whole. And so who are some kids that you are excited about seeing, for the people that are ignorant, such as myself, that don't know about who the top kids are in the state? Who should we be watching? Who should we be knowing about? Um,
Um, I I want to see my good friend at Liberty Magnet, Brandon White, win the state championship. And he got a really good guard, Howard Gaskins. That's a senior. Um, who else? Kid that played with the Houston Hoops team last year, Ahmad Hudson, that played with Ruston. Actually won a state championship this year in football. So it's looking like they're going to potentially can win a state championship in basketball too. So, and that's unheard of. You know, you winning a state championship in two sports in 1 year. So, I wanted to see TJ Jameson play. It's at Calvary Baptist, but they got beat by Episcopal early last week. Other than that, I'm excited to see some of these middle school kids that are gonna be in the ninth grade next year.
Mhm.
Uh,
Speaking of people playing for championship, Trey Morin lost a heartbreaker yesterday. Phelps Lions playing for their national or state title for prep
yeah,
school. You got
shout
to,
out to
hey, his kid Will Riley. Hey, you seen him?
oh yeah, he was at the Nike Elite 100 camp. He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Hey,
Shout out to our boy Jamie Smith for winning the state championship at Solon High School.
oh hell yeah, yeah. The Fighting Fugees also had the 8-1 upset, but then lost in the next round. They battled the Fighting Fugees out of Palo Alto. Yeah, shout out Jamie Smith. Shout out Delaney Durr, Snow Valley. She's been going there grinding. They have that. Who's the girl that's going to Iowa next year? That's been at Snow Valley the last couple of years. She'd been on that team too, right?
Right,
What's
correct.
her name?
I don't forgot her name, but I know he got a freshman that's pretty good.
Yeah, good coach.
Uh, yeah,
Trying to
yeah.
think. I know Jason Kern, coach of the year for the Three Rivers or whatever it's called right now. No, that's definitely not the
Right.
Three Rivers. That's in Oregon. Um,
West Branch.
yep, West
Uh,
Branch Bears. Shout out.
yeah.
Um, who else we got in the circle that's been winning? Mike
Uh,
Pilgrim, freaking
Mike
coach.
Ingram.
Mike Pilgrim, big time success.
Yeah.
Who else? I mean, the Snow Valley fam stays winning. I was, t-
They
I
win.
was, hey, surround yourself with winners. Actually, shoot. Speaking of Snow Valley, I was putting together some stuff for our 3-on-3 league. Saturday night, texted show about screening angles, looked at the time. It's like 7:30 Saturday night. About an hour later, show hit me back with a little screening breakdown. I'm actually give it to you, so I thought it was really good.
Okay.
Because yeah, screening, man. How do you teach screening, Tony? We got a minute and a half, so give me like 30 second. How do I teach screening?
Stay big and wide and protect yourself.
Love it. Angles
um,
to
just depends. Like, we run flex or whatever.
all right, Flexer. Hey, I can't. I got to talk. That's what I forgot to talk to Coach Cab about. Hey, they need to put a freaking shot clock in for one reason alone, so he'll stop running that. Hey, Coach Cab's won a lot more games than I have. All due respect to him, but man, oh live, that flex is tough, Tony. But you're tough too. We got a minute to go, Tony. Rapid fire. Who do you think's gonna win the NCAA tournament right now?
A mid-major team.
I'm taking App State. Absolutely. I'm with you. I've watched like 8 minutes of college basketball. Also, I'm taking the Cyclones as well. Cyclones versus App
McNeese.
State, the Final Four. What's that?
McNeese. McNeese.
McNeese. Okay, we're less than a minute, Tony. All right. Well, hey, I appreciate y'all tuning in. This will be a weekly deal, and we will. I'm working on the capability to go Facebook Live, Instagram Live, YouTube Live, all while we're doing this. Tony's yawning, but hey, we appreciate y'all tuning in. If you found some value, share it with a teammate. If you're a Snow Valley fan, comment below, share it with each other, man. Appreciate y'all, and we will be back next Monday/Tuesday. We're gonna go back next Monday night at 9. I'll be fresh out the gym. Appreciate y'all. Like, subscribe, all the things. We're back. Corn fed with side of Cajun sauce. Tone, any final thoughts? You got like 8 seconds.